Hey everyone, I'm Ash, I believe, and as far as you can tell, I am real. I'm going to be talking about some AI stuff that we've just added to Redpanda Connect. This is a new MCP Server command, which you can, if you grab the latest version of Redpanda Connect, you can run it right now. Don't take my word for it. You can go and test all of this stuff. I'm going to show you what it looks like to use and what it's useful for. At a high level, this is cool AI stuff. That's all you need to know. Don't worry about anything else. I'm going to be using the Claude AI tool in order to demo this cool stuff that we now have. The config, I'm using npx to run this MCP remote tool. This is what my Claude desktop config.json looks like. It's basically just a command to connect to an MCP server that I'm going to host at localhost port 4195. So if you want to run this yourself, that's the type of config you're going to need. There's other ways of hooking it up. And what I'm going to be running is Redpanda Connect MCP Server. If you're using RPK, then it's RPK Connect MCP Server. Just make sure you've got the latest version of Redpanda Connect. The version I am running is the one I released today, which is 4.52.0. So, quick one, what is MCP? MCP is a protocol that's being standardized on. It's allowing AI tools from multiple vendors, which is the important thing, to interact with tools and resources that are defined outside of the AI tools. So the idea is that you can run some sort of service or build some infrastructure, and AI is then able to interact with those things and actually create side effects. And what we've done is we have implemented an MCP server that allows you to let AI interact with any of Redpanda Connect's plugins. So if you imagine a traditional Redpanda Connect pipeline would have been a streaming application where you've got some source of data, a bunch of processing steps and integrations you might want to enact, and then you've got a sync for that data, and it's just a continuous flow of data. And then we've got all the goodness on top of that, like metrics, observability of various types, and all the delivery guarantees and operational simplicity that comes with it. We've put all this emphasis into trying to make it stable to run and a great developer experience overall. Well, now what we can do is we can take all those plugin types and all of the same things are there for an MCP server. So we get all the metrics, all the logging from all these components, all the stability and all the resiliency, all the testing and all that stuff. But now your AI is able to execute all of those components rather than it being a continuous stream of data. So imagine it's able to execute a processor that might take some text, hit some HTTP server, take the result, store that in Redis, take the result of that, like do some more queries on some SQL database, write the data to a Redpanda topic, and then text you and tell you that you need to call your mum. It's going to be able to do all these amazing things, and all the plugins that are within Redpanda Connect can all be exposed to AIs from this new release as tools. So let me show you what this actually looks like. So what I've got is a directory that's got 3 folders. Don't worry about data for now. So I've got observability 011y, and what that is there's a metrics.yaml config. And what that's going to do is it's going to tell the tool Redpanda Connect what kind of metrics we want to expose, and I've just set that to Prometheus. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Prometheus metrics that can be scraped, and those metrics are going to tell you all sorts of things. It's going to tell you how many times AI is triggering all the various plugins that you've got, and what the latencies are, and all that stuff, all the same stuff that you would get from a normal Redpanda Connect pipeline. Then I've got this resources folder. So this is the folder structure we're going to use for defining all the things that we want our AI to be able to interact with. So we've got caches, inputs, outputs, and processors. And these are basically the exact same as a traditional Redpanda Connect cache, input, output, and processor. I've got an example of one of each of these for this demo. Where we've got a cache. Let me show you what the cache looks like. So we've got a cache called Pet Thoughts Cache. And what this is it's actually just a file directory, just so I can demo this nice and easily. But it's basically a folder that we're going to use for storing key value pairs of pet thoughts. So it's a cat. I've got a little meta section here. This is all new stuff that we've added to support MCP better. And basically there's an enabled field. So what that means is I'm defining a Redpanda Connect thing, and I do want this to be exposed as a tool to my AI. I don't want it just running in the background. This is actually going to be something that AI is going to be able to execute. And then I've got a description. The purpose of this description is to let the AI know what this thing is for. And what else am I going to do? So yeah, basically this is a cache of pet names and their thoughts. So the key is a pet's name. So Fido, Snowball, all that. And then the contents will be some sort of thought we've come up with for that pet. We've got an input. So let's have a look at my input. I've got an input called pets, and this is a generate input. So imagine if you're not super familiar with Redpanda Connect, the sorts of things that this could be is it could be a Redpanda topic, or this could be an S3 bucket where we're consuming all the files from the bucket, or it could be an SQL query where we're reading all of the rows from that query. There's all kinds of integrations that we've built that can be used as a source of data in the Redpanda Connect world, and now what you're able to do is consume that data from an AI. What I've actually got here is a generate input where we're going to generate some data. This is a mapping where for every message that we create, we've got 4 different types of animal that the data might assume, and we're just randomly selecting one here. So I'm choosing an index from this static array based on a random integer. So every time a message gets generated, it'll be a random type of animal. And I've got a description here that just explains that. It generates random pet types. Hopefully the AI is going to understand that. I've got an output. So again, this is just for testing purposes, but this output could be all sorts of things. It could be an S3 bucket, it could be a Redpanda topic, it could be a text message, it could be a Telegram, it could be a Slack message. It could be any of those varieties. It could be a mixture of them as well, because we can have broker types within Redpanda Connect where you can have like multiple outputs all kind of orchestrated in various ways. So you could define like a dead letter queue within here, or of different output destinations that you want to try. Or you could have like swim lanes where, depending on the contents, the thing that the AI has generated, you might want to route it to different places. But for now, I'm going to write to a file. So I'm going to create a pet stream.jsonl, so a new line delimited JSON file, and I'm just going to do a bit of mapping to make all the messages suit a particular form. So we're going to have a pet name, a pet type, and a pet thought. And I've defined the name and the type, these 2 fields here, as properties for my AI to fill in. So we're essentially telling the AI that these are 2 fields that it needs to populate. There's a default automatic value property, so it's going to write 3 things. And the description is write pet information out as a stream of data so that the world can see it. And then we've also got a processor. So my processor is just a thing called log message. And this is a log processor, a very, very simple thing. Again, this is just to see it for my demo. But this could be an HTTP request. It could be a series of things. It could be that we hit an HTTP server, get a result back, and then maybe we enrich it with a cache, and then we do something else to the message. Maybe we do some mapping, and then finally we might want to do something else. Like, you can have any number of steps within this processor logic. And what we've done is we've given it a description of logs the contents of each message to stand out. So hopefully the AI is going to understand that. It's a very, very simple processor. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this. There is a data folder as well. This is going to eventually be populated. I've got a pet thoughts cache folder. So this is where if the AI writes any cache items, that's where they'll end up. And then I'll also hopefully end up with a file in data called my pet stream, which is that output I described. So I'm going to run Redpanda Connect MCP Server. And because this is a remote server, I'm going to give it an address to bind to of port 4195, and then that should be it. So you'll see some logs straight away. So we've registered an input tool with the label pets, a cache tool with the label pet thoughts cache, a processor tool, log message. The actual specifics about what things get exposed and what they get exposed as to the AI, this is all stuff that we're going to iterate on over time. So the trick here is trying to make things intuitive for an AI to understand and use. And obviously that's going to be a process as we learn more about the AI world. I'm going to run my Claude desktop app. Bear with me while I do that. And then, oh, look at that. It said, good afternoon, Ash. Good afternoon to you too. So I'm going to give it a very vague prompt. The immediate thing that you see is that if you click this tools icon, you can see that it's found all of these various tools that have been exposed. So we've got our log message processor, we've got our pets input, we've got a pet stream output, and we've got two tools for the cache. So we've got the ability for an AI to set an item in the cache and also to get an item from the cache. And I'm just going to give it a very vague prompt where I'm going to try and get it to use as many of these tools as I can. So I'm going to say, hey, first up, it's polite to say hello to your AI. Read some pets, and for each one, come up with a name and add a field thought. I'm specifically not using great grammar here because I'm not trying to make it too easy. I don't know what that error message was. Probably a bit of networking stuff. I don't want to make it too easy for the AI. That contains a random thought that suits the particular animal. So what's going to happen is it's going to generate a few animals. Notice I've said read some, so I'm going to leave it up to the AI to determine how many animals it's actually going to read, and each one's going to have a type, so I'm asking it to come up with some content based on the actual animal. Then write each pet out to the stream. Oh, and also each pet thought should also be cached, I guess. So let's see what it can do with that. I'll help you generate some random data. So you'll get these pop-ups asking if it's allowed to run these various tools. I'm going to allow it for this chat so it can do all these things as many times as it wants. I'm just going to let it go and do, well, this is happening too fast for me to break down what's actually happening, so we'll go through it in a minute. But it's definitely doing some stuff, which is good. I'm a big fan of my AI being able to do things. Oh, it's doing loads of stuff. Okay, right, so I'll help you generate some random pets. Give them the blah, 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 blah. And what it's done is it's read 5 messages from my input. So this is the mapping I was showing you earlier, where it's creating a message and it's got a field type. Also got an ID field, but that doesn't really mean anything. So we've got a type cat, dog, a rabbit, a cow, and another cow. I love cows, so I'm happy to have a bit of over-representation there. Now I'll create names and thoughts for each pet and add them to the stream whilst also caching their thoughts. So what has it done here? So for the first one, it looks like it's created some sort of like cat here. We've got a name Whiskers. I wonder if I can fit into that tiny box over there. And you can see it's done a bunch of cache set commands. We've got one for Buddy, we've got one for Thumper, I'm guessing that's the rabbit, we've got one for Bezzy, and we've got one for Daisy, and then it's written a bunch of data to my pet stream output. So we've got Whiskers, the cat, I wonder if I can fit into them, blah blah, Buddy, the dog, that squirrel thing's like, Thumper, rabbit, if I stay perfectly still, maybe they won't notice I chewed through another charging cable. You cheeky rabbit, Thumper. We've got Bezzy the cow. So it looks like it's generated a bunch of content. It's done it how I asked. It's given us a little summary at the bottom here. Let's actually look at what's happened behind the scenes in my temporary demo folder. So if I go in this data folder now, we should see some actual stuff. So we've got a pet stream .jsonl. So if I cat that, we've actually got all the data that I described. So we've got JSON objects. This one's got a name Whiskers with the thought, I wonder if I can fit into that tiny box over there. It's got a type of cat, and we've got one for Buddy, Thumper, Bezzy, and Daisy. Oh, you beautiful cows. So yeah, we've got data in our stream, and now let's have a look at the cache. So pet thoughts cache. Here we've got items for Bezzy, Buddy, Daisy, Thumper, and Whiskers. So let's read Daisies. I don't think I've read Daisies yet. So if I cat the Daisy cache item, I'm not just another cow. I'm the cow. The others look up to me. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. Let's have a look at Bezzy. The grass is always greener in the next field over. I should plan my escape. Oh, you cheeky cow. Cool. Right, that's pretty cool. How about we use the log thing now? So can you please log all of those animals? Let's see what it does with that. So it should recognize we've got like a log tool, and then let's see what it actually does. I'll log all of those animals for you. So we should be able to see this coming in live. So we've got some log messages now. Cat named Whiskers thinks, I wonder if I can fit into that tiny box over there. Dog named Buddy thinks, that squirrel thinks I can't see it, but I'm just waiting for the perfect moment. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we've got our logs. Let's do some more AI stuff. I think that means we've interacted with all the tools I defined. Can you please update all the cat thoughts so that they contain more meows? I'm very concerned with the lack of meows. So what I'm hoping it's going to do is it's going to update all the caches for Whiskers. There's only one cat, isn't there? So it's going to update the cache. It's also logged it. Would you like me to generate more cats with meow-filled thoughts? Or is there anything else you'd like me to do? Maybe in a minute. Let's just go and see what happened here. So I'm going to cat Whiskers, was it? Meow! I wonder if I can fit into that tiny box over there. Meow! If I fits, I sits. Meow, meow. So there's definitely more meows now. Can you make the cow thoughts more sinister? I'm pretty sure cows are very sinister creatures, and that's not really coming through for me right now. So let's see if it's going to update our two cows, Bessie and Daisy. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to read its own output. I'm going to go straight to the cache. Let's see. So we've got Bessie and we've got Daisy. Bessie now thinks, the humans think I'm just chewing cud, but I'm actually calculating the optimal time to lead the bovine uprising. Soon, they'll all be working for us. And let's do the same for Daisy. I've been watching the humans' routines for months. They have no idea I can unlock the gate with my tongue. Tonight, we make our move, and tomorrow, the farm will have new management. Very sinister. Well done, AI. That's brilliant. Cool. Okay. I feel like I've done a good job. If I were in an office environment and my job was something to do with data, and this is what I produced, I'd feel like that's a job well done. I'd definitely be worthy of my weekly promotion. So well done to me, well done to all of you for being with me on this journey. Let's see if it actually cleans up nice as well. Yep, it does. Right, that's my demo. Now you might be thinking like, why? That's a really good question. It's kind of fun. If you think about what the potential here is right now for like Redpanda Connect components, the reality is you've got all the stuff that we had before, which is secrets management, metrics, observability, auditing, the ability to have like dead letter queues and all these like safety mechanisms built into the configs that you build for all of these various ways of executing all these integrations. Having that stuff defined in your config where the AI can't interact with it, all it can do is invoke it, is great for security, it's great for stability, it's great for having a resilient infrastructure. It means you're not trusting the AI too much with regards to, like, you can imagine like interacting with a Redis cache and you're trusting the AI to manage like the address and usernames and passwords, that kind of stuff. Like, you want to move that stuff out of the AI's domain and into an actual tool. And what we've got with Redpanda Connect is all of that stuff already baked into it. And now that we can just execute this as an MCP server, It means that you can just very, very quickly take configs that you've already defined for interacting with all these things. Redpanda Connect is what's going to be interacting with your secrets management solution. So either reading environment variables or hitting up some sort of like secrets remote. That's all going to be done by the Redpanda Connect tool. Your AI is just using it. It's just making use of it. So it's going to be great from the perspective of having that nice clean isolation, and because we're in the Redpanda Connect world, we've already made it really operationally simple and a great developer experience to maintain those things. So if you've got a team of people who don't really know anything about AI, they don't really care about that kind of world, but they do know what the Redis setup looks like. They know how the AWS S3 buckets are secured and how they manage credentials. They do know how to spin up Redpanda topics. They are the ones who would be maintaining all of these configs, and they don't need to know what's invoking them or what it's being used for. You can just maintain that in a nice repo, and then your AI can just use it. It can just interact with all this stuff. I just like doing the meows. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a smart guy. I'm not very business savvy. That's gonna be up to you, I'm afraid. You're gonna have to tap into the business value here while I sit here playing with my cats and cows. But thank you for watching this demo. Hopefully it's been a great time for you as well. I've had a bit of fun, so it's been worth it for me at least. Enjoy your day.